Welcome to Flip with Lou and Kip. I'm Lou,
I'm Kip.
and it's not about showing me the money, it's about what?
Show you the menu.
And I am excited, man. This is another one, another episode.
Yeah.
And excited to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
I will kick us off. You know, we're in this world, Kip, where there's a difference in how you show up as an athlete. There's a world where NIL, making one post to a brand partnership, or honestly, a university seeing you could be the difference between you having nothing and having something, right? But also, too, it can be one decision that can put you back at having nothing. And this is not talked about enough because I think we highlight it in a way where it's the clickbait. It's going to create a documentary and a narrative about an athlete and their ability and inability of not being able to manage money properly. And so I really want to dive into that overall concept because NIL is constructed so wide and so big. And I really want to dive into the gist of that one decision you can make that can change your life in the positive, but also to put you in a deficit.
Sure. Great. Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. So I really want to, talk about your experience, Kip. And when I say your experience, you've had experience on both being a buyer and a seller, right? In the film industry. And with that, there's a lot of tactical things that you had to really acquire over that time, right? There was experience that you had to really kind of step into to understand how to be both a buyer and a seller. But with that became management, right? Timing, budgeting, things of that nature. So can you just give the folks at home a little illustration about that specifically? And how did you keep the discipline, number one, but also two, what were some rules that you stood by to ensure that that was something that can happen in perpetuity?
Thank you for the opportunity to put that question on the table.
Yeah.
All of us are our own movie.
Sure.
So when you're watching yourself as if you were the star of your own show and your own movie, are you watching a character who's making the choices and sacrifices to actually reach the goals that the character says they want?
100%.
Or are you making choices and sacrifices, which are the things that define all of us? We're all a definition simply of our choices and the sacrifices that go with it. Are you making the right choices and sacrifices to lead your hero's journey in the direction you want your hero to go? This is true about movies when you're writing the script. Are you putting in the scenes and sequences that challenge the character in a way that an audience feels that they're engaged in those challenges?
100%.
Or are you making it too easy on your character and nobody's really interested because it's so easy that it doesn't feel authentic?
Wow.
So as an athlete, as you're saying, that one post that could make a difference or not is that opportunity to expose the vulnerability of your humanity while also staying authentic to your brand.
100%.
And that choice to understand who you are and how to express who you are with a post or whatever it is that's interacting with your public can absolutely define your future.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to ask you as an athlete, when you spend a minute before you're going online and posting, what are the choices and sacrifices you're making when you're pressing that button? Are you thinking in the future? Are you thinking right now when you're posting that?
No, I think it's a great question to pose. And I don't want to, dance around the fact of what you mentioned about the character you're building. We build our character, and our character is obviously not defined by all the different roles that we wear and all the hats, right? So for me, if I'm thinking about social, especially in this day and age, I'm thinking about how can I articulate a message that is authentic and transparent in a way that shows that not only I have vulnerabilities, but also shows that I am trying to acquire a certain knowledge and a certain skill set that would allow me to really resonate with my audience, right? And that's what I would think about now.
Okay.
This day and age, obviously folks that are on social media specifically, right? They're thinking about, well, what is this coach going to think of me if I post my stats?
I see.
Is he going to take away from my recruiting? Is he thinking that just because I'm committed here, is he now saying that I'm not committed because I'm showing my stats and I'm trying to show the world that I'm actually thriving as an athlete? What does that actually do for my brand?
Are you allowed to do that as an athlete? You can post your own stats and stuff? The school doesn't restrict you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, granted, right?
So why wouldn't you then?
Well, you know what? Because there are certain schools, especially if you're a big time player.
Right.
It depends, right? If I'm a guy that's a 5-star and I'm committed to a certain university that's a Power 5 school, they're going to want me to have parameters around me displaying them as the brand that I am
100%.
representing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if I am representing that brand,
Right.
just like working in corporate, any corporation, if I work for Nike, then why would I post Reebok?
Right.
And it's the same thing, right? But now, posting your sats to get to that question, it's only showing your community that you are thriving in this community. It's actually a sense of empowerment,
Yeah,
right? It's
right.
your leverage,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And you worked with intellectual properties
Sure,
all the time.
sure. It's all about
as
leverage.
as a football player, your intellectual property are your stats.
Yeah,
It's
right.
what you're able to do
Right.
when you're playing at any given day and what
Right.
you're able to showcase throughout the masses. And that also is what's going to breed more brands to come and attract towards you when you're trying to show that you are that Power 5 type player, right?
Okay.
So that's the difference.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that as an athlete building a brand, it's imperative that you
100%.
let the world define your brand by your performance. And I couldn't agree more, because what your brand is a performance brand as an athlete that's translating to a product.
100%.
The reason someone wants you as a brand representative is because of your authenticity on the field.
Yep.
If you catch the ball consistently in difficult circumstances on the field, that's a metaphor for you being able
Yes.
to do it in life.
Yes.
And so they want that association. If you use this product when times get tough, just like this athlete, you'll come through with the big catch or the
Yes.
big block or whatever
Yes.
it is.
Yes, yes, 100%. But even take a deeper dive into that. You are now not only representing the university, but you're also representing the communities that that university also represents,
Okay.
and also the entire landscape of collegiate athletics. Because soon as I post that I just ran for 300 yards and I had 500 all-purpose yards, what that initially does for somebody from a branding perspective is, who is that guy? And also too, let's think about the regions that we're playing in, right? Is he playing in Texas? Is he playing in California, right? Is he playing in Washington? Is he playing wherever? Wherever there's big time football or big time basketball or baseball, wherever you're playing, what is the branding that I can take out of that demographic or that region to now put you up on more of a global or more of a more wide range domestic level, right? So it is about building your brand, and that comes obviously with financial backing once you build that. Because now if I'm Nike and I know that you're in close proximity, especially in a world like LA,
Sure.
and I can fit the mold and I can have the build of something, now I know that you're the guy.
So this is why in our curriculum, we're going to take a real deep dive
100%.
on how to do these things you're talking about.
Yes.
In what order should I be branding myself?
Correct.
How do I use social media so it's not using me? How do I also not abandon traditional media?
Correct.
Because there's still an awful lot of value on television, radio, the right kind of associations and performances. How do I take a career as an athlete into entertainment, where I can be in front of the camera and a personality and feel confident?
Yep.
And the confident word's really important here.
Yes.
In all of really sort of the why of why we're here,
100%.
trying to empower people, trying to make you feel more confident as you are throwing a ball, as you are when you're in your street clothes out on the road and doing your
100%.
normal life. Can we find the same kind of confidence? So the branding exercises that we've got in this curriculum are really crucial for not only doing it, but doing it in the right order so that
100%.
you're attracting an audience that feels authentically connected to you.
100%, 100%. But also too, being able to navigate it, like you just mentioned about branding, but also being able to navigate the conversations about finances, right? Because sometimes we limit ourselves to just the sport, and we don't really understand how to navigate the conversations about what my financial journey would be once I actually get something.
So now we're
Right?
getting into the menu.
And now, exactly.
Now you're getting to the menu.
And now we're getting into the menu.
And this is the meat.
And this is the meat, right? And this is what we have to hone in on and dive into, because now if I have a menu of opportunity, I can pick what I want.
Yeah.
If I don't like something and if I see something is not performing, if I ingest it and if it's not performing to the stance that I needed to perform to make sure I have optimal performance in my life, what's going to happen?
You can't make the right choice.
I can't make the right
And if you can't
choice.
make the right choice, you're making sacrifices you shouldn't have to make.
Exactly. And this is the beauty of having a curriculum like ours, because we don't only start from a budgeting perspective and how to create disciplines around budgeting, but what we're going to start is really intrinsically, what is really driving me and what am I ingesting to allow me to have the conversations more confidently and be at a point where I can have the ability to talk to folks like a Kip, talk to a folk like Lou, and be able to be in those rooms where I know that I do matter and I can have the conversations outside of sports.
Well, I'm going to give you, that's fantastic. I'm going to give you a real example. As a brand athlete,
Yep.
if I were that person, I'm not, but you were.
Yes, yes.
If there's an auto dealership, and you're just talking a second ago about being effective to your area, your
Sure.
community, Texas, et cetera.
Yep.
So an auto dealership says, hey, Lou, I love the way you're playing out there. We'd like you to drive this car,
Yep.
and we'd like people to see you associated with our business. Instead of taking that opportunity for yourself personally, understanding that if you set yourself up as a business, because now you are a business,
100%.
now they're interested in being in business with your business that's on the field that they can
100%.
translate. If you have an S Corp or an LLC, something that is a business, so it isn't you personally, and you take that car into the business, now the business has an asset. Now the business can use this for tax advantages,
Yes.
for write-offs.
Yes.
Every time you get in that car and go on a date or go out with your friends, whatever, it's all to your benefit financially. Whereas if you took that same car
Yep.
personally,
Yes.
it's just losing value, just like you're losing value and associated with. So this simple adjustment of understanding the menu of business opportunities as a brand
100%.
is critical to feeling this empowerment that we're trying to help people understand.
100%. So what you're saying is there's a separation, right? Because what I'm hearing, there's a gap between understanding you as a brand, but also you as a personal person, right?
And how to apply
and
it.
how to apply it,
Yes,
right? Because
correct.
if I personal guarantee something, right,
Right.
that's my name.
Right.
Lou Alexander go into a bank and he says that Lou Alexander, and I'm putting my social on something, that is me personal guareteeing that thing. Where what you're saying is that there's a separation now. There's more benefits, and now there is a different level of wealth and acknowledgement if I now create an S Corp.
I make it really simple for you.
Got it.
I had no assaults to anybody.
Yep.
Poor people own cars, middle class owns houses, and wealthy people own businesses.
Wow, that's
and
good.
that's just a fact,
Wow,
Jack.
that's good.
And the reason is
That's
that
good.
with a business, you can then buy cars and houses
good.
to your
That's
advantage. Cars and houses don't buy you a business. Got that right? We get that flow? So to understanding how to set yourself up as a business, to
Sure.
go through the world as a business, is to create leverage out of your identity.
Sure.
Now suddenly, just listening for the last few seconds, if you really heard that, you have now taken yourself from why am I always losing money? Why am I more poor
100%.
every day the harder I work? As opposed to the harder I work,
Sure.
the more my assets are working for me.
100%.
It's simply an adjustment of seeing yourself as a legitimate business and then working with us to set that business up.
Well, it's very. I love how you've kind of created the picture, right? Because if you're speaking to a younger athlete, right, when they think about business, it's an esoteric thought,
Right.
Right? It's something that they can't even
out
capture.
there
It's
somewhere.
out there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what's in front of my nose.
Right,
What's in front of
sure.
my nose is I have to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I have to lift weights.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
to check in for breakfast. After that, I have to go to my workout. After that, there's meetings now. And after that, I go to practice. I go to study hall or whatever the case may be. And now I'm going home.
As soon as you graduate,
Right.
you're going to do the same thing in an office.
Exactly, right? But this is what I want to really dive into, right?
Okay.
I think that point is definitely great. But how do I now get someone to transition the mentality to have the acumen now, because they're green in their discipline already. They don't realize that playing football now has opened me up to the opportunity to have a business and to be widespread in all of these different arenas, because now the discipline changes, right? The discipline changes for not only being an athlete, but I'm protecting a brand.
Right.
And with protecting that brand, I am now trying to convert on capital. Converting on capital now gives me the opportunity to expand. But I can't think that way
No,
if
you're up
I
at
have
5
a
in the
40
morning eating breakfast.
If I have
Yeah.
40 hours a week dedicated to my sport, right? So how can I think that way? Understanding I'm a brand and leveraging those
Well, I
brands.
love
So
this.
when
So this
active
gets
income
back to
comes
what-
in, I'm good.
You asked me before in a
Yeah.
previous episode about mindfulness.
Sure.
And this is what you're talking about here.
100%.
When you just wake up at 5 in the morning, put your feet in the ground, and just start running, there is no purpose to what you're doing. You're simply trying to
100%.
keep up with your own schedule.
Correct.
And honestly, you're never going to keep up with that schedule.
Correct.
You're gonna, if you must, before your feet hit that ground, or as soon as they do, get yourself into a position where you can sit calmly and quietly with yourself.
Correct.
To journal your day, to take just a moment and write out the intentions of the day and the why of those intentions, to put down, and I'm talking really practical here, 3 things that must accomplish today, not 10, 20 things on a list, 3 things that must. And the hardest one first.
Yes.
And now go about that normal schedule with those things implanted in your mind, that simple discipline adjustment of being mindful about what was the intention of the day. It was not simply to get up and get through it. The intention of the day was to get up and build on it.
So you this all sounds amazing, but Kip, how do I hold myself accountable?
Yeah.
Right? I'm an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, right? Now I understand once I get 25, 26, and I've experienced a little more life, I've taken enough losses where I understand now I have to be accountable. How I show up for anything is how I'm going to show up for everything. Right?
I understand. That's
but
a
like
great
now,
statement.
how do I hold myself accountable in this world where, if I'm being honest with you, I'm just hoping to get to the season, win games, and I want to go party with my boys.
Well, you're accountable enough to be on the team.
Yeah.
You're on a Division I team or 2 or 3. That's for real business.
Sure.
The coach and the administration took you seriously enough to give you a scholarship and to respect your presence on this campus.
100%.
They're promoting you in front of the school as a hero of the school. You're getting all kinds of attention. With acceptance of those responsibilities comes the responsibility to return it with your presence.
Correct.
To, quote, be here now.
Correct.
Here's where you are.
Correct.
Now, if you can't handle the pressures of being here now, we need a fallback position. We need to step back. You got too much pressure on you, too much responsibility. If you want this pressure, if you want to be in college, if you want to play on the team, you want to be a starter, you want to be a star, you want these things of a brand and leverage, you've got to show up for yourself. It's not just being there, it's bringing your full self. From the moment your eyes go up until the end of the day and before you shut your eyes, setting yourself up for the inevitability that you're gonna wake up the next morning and the schedule's gonna be there.
So it sounds like to me, if I'm someone that's listening, right, instantly, and this is no negative knock. This is just, again, putting myself in the perspective.
We all have to do it.
An athlete, right? Because at the end of the day, I have to question what's truly reality for me. There's a lot of folks that leverage their platforms to say, I need you to do this, or else the result won't be X. And that's fine, right? But until you've walked the halls of a university, until you've actually been represented in a university, do you truly understand? You know, I get a kick out of it, right? When I hear a lot of folks that haven't really played the game at a high level, but they can critique someone at a level where they feel that they've played the game. And it's like, how can you, right? You're not an expert there. I would never go in on a set and tell an actor what to do because I've never been an actor. And you will probably look at me as someone that's producing that movie and say, what are you doing? So I tie it all back into this, is that all these things sound great in theory to the guy that is literally at the highest level. But let's just be honest. That university is asking that guy to do a lot. And if that guy can't perform on Saturday, none of this matters.
That's right.
It doesn't matter at all. So now, how do I create and build a callus where I know that there's a duality to me, right? There is an approach that I can take now where I am wearing the hat of an athlete, the hat of a financial expert, the hat of somebody that's going back because my family needs me to support them, right? I'm wearing so many different hats. I don't have enough time. Kip, I'm exhausted. I need help. Who do I lean into?
Well, that's what Flip's here for.
Exactly.
So it's exhausting. However, I'll give you some really helpful comment here. It's been done before, and you can do it too.
100%. Okay? And that's that.
You're not reinventing.
I love
it.
You're
not reinventing. 100%. It's a little scary. The cameras are a little brighter. The stadiums are a little bigger. But this has been done over and over for thousands of years. The most successful people in the history of humanity are not the ones who are the biggest and the strongest or the ones who are the most kind, the ones who can work with a community. So you're not expected to be doing this alone. Hello, you're on a team. You have teammates. When you're a freshman at college and you're not on a school football team, you have no teammates. You have to figure it out. It's dorm mates or whatever it is. In sports, you actually have an advantage. You're brought in before the season starts. You're given a group of people in a community. You're all sharing some part of a dream together.
100%.
You're all trying to win a championship or do something that you haven't done before together as a team. This is your community. So it is called humankind,
Got it.
not human doing.
Got it.
We are human beings. We are
Gotcha.
not human doers.
Gotcha.
And so simply being kind, being part of a community, realizing, yeah, you might not get it all right the first
100%,
time.
100%.
Well, you're around a community of people who are also going through it. So relax. Give yourself a break here. It's
love
been
that.
done before and you can do it too.
I love that. And I think that just, again, that level of self-reflection and self-talk is not only going to help you, because you just hit on something that I think was keen and a lot of folks can really resonate, because we're not just talking about the 18 or 19-year-old kid.
No, this is
right?
forever.
This is forever. And,
Yeah.
and I think once we expand to a kid that is, or not even a kid, an adult.
Right.
Once you are an active adult, right, now you have a career.
Right.
You have children.
Look,
You have real
yeah,
life
layer
that's
it on.
happening.
Honestly,
right?
you got a lot
You got a
going
lot
on.
to
Yeah.
layer on. But what you're mentioning is that the foundation obviously starts at a very young age,
Yeah.
right? And you have to have that self-talk very early on, because now if I'm the guy that is going into my tech job and I just landed it, right? And I understand that now I'm in a different field. I'm no longer in college, right? I am now someone that has active income. Now I can make investments towards my lifestyle. Now I can travel. My mentality is going to change. I probably even have kids now. My mentality is changing now. And so what would you tell someone at that level, right? That they've went through it all and now they're at that transitional moment. And here's why I asked the question.
Sure.
I'm someone that had to transition.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have the big career like some of these guys that played 10 years, which I think was a benefit for me. Now, did I get to the arena and was I there professionally? Absolutely.
Sure.
I've touched it.
Yeah,
but
that's
I had to make a conscious decision in my transition to ensure that the value that I once was applying and the value that I once was giving on the field, it changes now. Now I'm that 25, 26-year-old guy
Sure.
that has responsibility.
Sure.
So does the self-talk changes
It
at that
doesn't
level?
really. It doesn't change.
Or does it stay the same?
In order to
Yeah.
get to D1, you had to be an ass kicker in high school.
Got it.
Before you got to the high school and you
Got
were
it.
the big guy who walked in high school, you were the big guy in 8th grade.
Yeah.
You had a journey that I
Yeah.
did not have because I did not have the
Sure.
physical attributes and skill sets that
Sure.
you had.
Sure.
You walk in the room, it's really clear that you should probably play football. I
Sure.
walk in the room, it's the farthest thing from anybody's mind.
100%.
We're a perfect example of this.
100%.
So we each had to go through our life journey learning the skill sets prior to adulthood that would apply to adulthood, and that's what we're talking about here.
Got it.
All of it starts with a community.
Got it.
None of this is learned on your own.
Got it.
There are private moments where you have leaps and bounds of maturity, where on your own you learn life lessons. But the vulnerabilities that you're talking about here, the exposure to no longer being where you were to now being someplace new, you are prepared for it more than you think.
Oh, wow.
I love this movie. I use it in other episodes. But The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy was prepared to go on the journey,
Yes.
or she wouldn't have gone on the journey. It was a dream. So the dream provided her a clarity of where am I going? Who am I? What do I want? I love my little dog. I want to be home. I just want to be around friends.
Okay.
It's the same thing as what you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
I'd like to go home after I'm back at school and have everybody love me a little bit more, right? That's what you're afraid of.
Well, of course, yes.
You're afraid, okay, here I am. I took this money. I took this responsibility. What if I screw it up?
Oh my goodness.
Then what are they going to think of me back at home?
Or what if I can't provide a resource?
And what if I was a big shot in college and really
Yeah.
successful, and now I get out in the pros, and what if I can't?
Yes.
Or what if my pro career ends earlier than I thought? Where will I be at this point? These are all really familiar thoughts that your community is also sharing.
So that's an amazing point. So let's just kind of, speed up the process a little bit. And when I say speed up the process, right, we're in a time capsule. And we've already went through all the things that you just mentioned. And in a perfect world, we have the education, we have the community, and we also have now the financial resources to make decisions. But there's one thing that's stopping me. I have a scarce mentality.
Okay.
I have a scarce mentality and I don't know what to do, right? Because I've read books and books have told me that there's this buzzword that I need passive income.
Right.
But I don't even know what passive income means. Sure. And am I making enough in my job to actually support the passive.
Right.
Because that's what ends up happening. You need some money in response to create passive, or there won't be any passive.
Well,
right.
yeah.
So now if I'm fast forwarding now, Kip, I'm putting myself now where I got $100,000.
Okay.
And I've just done well at business. Maybe I was in sales consultant and I've scaled companies and I got some equity from the company and now I got $100,000 check.
Okay.
But I'm looking to where to put my money. Do I go into a physical asset and do I get an apartment building, or do I get a home, or do I get, a real estate investment trust where I own pieces of things, right? Which is things that we're going to obviously talk about within our curriculum. But where do I even go after I've got the community, I have the discipline, I have the backing of all the things? Where do I go now, okay?
Well, active and passive income, let's break them down. What they mean.
Please.
So active income is your paycheck. This is what you're bringing home, actively working for, and your present value as far as an employer is concerned.
Gotcha.
That's active income.
Yep.
Passive income is money that's being made without you having to work for it anymore. Investments, such as real estate, stocks, commodities, bonds, collectibles, things that appreciate in value after you buy them create passive income. Things that depreciate in value after they buy them pull against your passive income or your active income status, right? So if you buy a new car, for instance, as soon as you buy it and drive it off the lot, it is losing value. That is the opposite of passive income. You invest in a real estate trust, like you suggested, which is essentially a collective of a lot of different properties, and you can put money into them and you can have basically spread your risk out over a bunch of different properties. As rents are paid on those properties, you're collecting income. You didn't go and build those buildings. You didn't go out and collect the income either. You just sat home and got the check sent to your mailbox. That's passive income. So your question of how am I creating passive income from my active income? This is where you go back to our earlier episode on budgeting. If you don't take responsibility for how you spend and really monitor what you earn, you will never keep track of it. It is impossible to keep all the spending in your head. When you do, you realize quickly where your money's going and where else it can go, right? So when you're an athlete, maybe throwing back to you here, the question, do you have time to sit down for just 5 minutes at the beginning of the day and say, what would I spend my money on today?
Well, yes.
And do I have any left over? And if I do I have an app like Acorns, which will take whatever I'm spending, I go to Burger King or do whatever I'm doing, and it'll round up 25 cents, $1, or whatever I tell it to, and put it in an account without me even knowing my active income or active spending is creating passive income for me.
100%. Well, I think there's a ton of folks, and I'm speaking from a place where I was a young kid before, and I wasn't able to calculate risk. I didn't know what risk looked like, right? It was all about surplus. Whatever I had in the bank, that was key. That was everything for me. I didn't care about, well, let me get to tomorrow. Because now
you need a mentality adjustment.
You need a mentality adjustment, but also too, I have to think about them in groups, because what you just mentioned, right, is active income is one group. There's a lot of things that I can do with my active income on this side of the quadrant, right? That's going to allow me to do things that I want. It's going to support a lifestyle, number one. So if I have this side of the quadrant of active income, I am supporting a lifestyle. Right? I want to send my family on vacation. I want shoes. I want clothes. I want to fulfill my desires and my wants.
You're gonna have a hard time doing that on an active income.
But this is where
man steps in and takes it away.
100%. But this is where that balance is, right? And this is the mentality that I hope that our viewers can kind of really be drawn into, right? Because we understand, if I look at that active, I'm thinking that the active is supposed to support my lifestyle and also have enough that's left over to support other things, right? So for me, you're not even looking at, well, I need to get to passive or invest, because all this active, I need to hold on to it. It goes back to what my mom used to say all the time. I'm just keeping money underneath the mattress, right? If I can look under that mattress and if I got $150 on that mattress, that's food for the week.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not.
And so it's not. And that's not the mentality that you need to have. But I state all that to really hone it back into the fact of, I'm not even looking at the two difference. I'm just looking at how can I get more active and make more money and hustle.
So unfortunately, what that describes is there's 5 levels of wealth. And what you're describing is being just stuck on level 1. and not really feeling the confidence you can ever get to the other levels. And this,
Okay.
I think, really goes to knowing the menu.
Okay.
If all you know is, I make $500 a week, therefore I can spend $490 a week,
Sure.
you will spend $490 or $500 a week forever, and you will just exist inside
So
that
I don't have
bubble.
$1 million. I'm actually, if I'm spending
You'll never get there.
$999.9,
Never get there.
then after the day, I'm still poor.
But when you understand from just a little education, which you can
Yeah.
get here, of the levels of wealth that are available to you, understand that taking part of your active wealth
Sure.
and putting it aside so that you can start to build a nest egg to invest in yourself. The second level of wealth comes when you can insure yourself. So the first level is just making some money so you
Sure.
can eat and maintain. The next level is insuring things in case something happens that you can keep it. So you've got health insurance now, car insurance, apartment or home insurance. If something happens, you can hang on.
Sure.
The third level, I haven't talked about a vacation. I haven't talked about anything new here yet. I'm talking about just paying the bills and then ensuring in case things go wrong, you can keep paying the bills.
Right.
2 levels, that's it out of 5. The third level, you're now starting to put some money away that you can put into investments because you've got your nut covered, you've got your rainy days covered with insurance, and we're going to show you all kinds of ways to set up that insurance so your relatives are rich forever.
Right.
I've got great strategies on how insurance goes to
Right.
work for you.
Yes.
In the third tier, you're finally putting enough money away that you can buy little stocks, little securities. Something's going on now that's starting to build your egg. By the fourth level, that egg has grown up and you have passive income now. Okay? So you had to get past level 1, 2, you had to invest in 3. It's level 4 out of 5
Gotcha.
before you're really getting passive income. So if you're expecting to get passive income too quick, you're going to be frustrated, which is why we need the discipline early on, the same discipline that made you a premier athlete. Early on to start to build
Yes.
these rungs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
4th tier, you're now investing in nest egg. 5th tier, the nest egg is large enough that you don't need to work. It's enough passive that's covering all of your interests.
Yes.
And on with the show.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, that's the menu.
No, I love that. I love that, and I think that resonates, right, with someone that I'm honestly I've been around for a while, and I hear you, right. I'm taking it all in. I'm really taking in the information to apply it. But now, we're in this world where obviously everybody has their hand out as it pertains to, well, where do you put your money, right? With $99. Right, on my platform, I can get you to 5x your company, or I can get you to 5x your profit and passive income, or I can get you to make $20,000 in 3 months.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that.
Right, but again, these are the taglines that are marketable now because we're in a digital age, and social media is now creating this paradigm. Right, it's shifting a paradigm, but it's indoctrinating a lot of people into thinking that it's a quick fix. Right, and that's where I think the transition happens. This quick fix, and a lot of us are on it. Right, like I fall, I fall victim to it as well sometimes.
Really?
And not victim, and I'm going to take it and apply
anything
it.
quick is going to have high risk.
Exactly.
If you want
Exactly.
quick, you can take quick, but you're going to have high risk of fail.
Exactly.
So making quick work is slim.
Yes,
If
yes.
you can take a minute, there's a lot of rules to support. Are you familiar with the rule of 72?
Yes.
The rule of 72?
Yes.
So the rule of 72,
compounded interest over time, and it shows you how much you can double your money.
how much you can double your money,
Yes.
how long it takes
to actually
double your money,
Yes.
and how much your interest rate of return needs to be to double your money.
Correct.
This is a rule that works 100% of the time, no matter who
100%.
you are.
100%.
And really simply, the way it is, for instance, is if you want to double your money in 6 years, you take 6 and divide it into 72. And you get 12.
Yep.
You now need to earn 12% on your money for 6 years.
Okay.
That's it.
Wow.
That's the formula. If you're earning 6% on your money, you divide that into 72, it's going to take you 12 years to double your money.
Wow.
So now 6% is pretty conservative. So if you need to double your money in less than 12 years, you need to be in a more aggressive kind of a portfolio or investment
So
platform.
what do I need to have as income, number one, and then also number two, how much of a percentage of that income can I allocate? Once I go through paying all of the things that I have,
Level 1.
my overhead, level 1, as you mentioned.
Got a little insurance.
Got a little insurance, right?
You should be looking at least 20% of your weekly income that you can put away.
Got it.
And if you can do more, you're just going to accelerate faster.
Got it.
Second,
Yep.
once you start putting that away, you want to look at the long-term solutions for wealth that provide tax advantages.
Sure.
The government has given you a number of them. 401ks,
Yep.
are just like the eighth wonder of the world.
Yep.
You put some money in of every paycheck, you don't even see it, and your employer is matching it, and you're not paying attention, and it's in the market, earning market rates, probably earning 10, 12% a year. Inflation's maybe 3 to 5%, so you're netting out 6, 7% a year on that kind of money with a 401.
Sure.
Has anybody heard of a Roth IRA?
Absolutely.
A Roth IRA is just a fabulous tool.
It's a game changer.
In the menu.
It's a game changer.
So you're taking 20% of your weekly income, you're building it up month after month. Once a year, you're putting $6,000 into this program that when you're 59 years old,
yes,
you're getting this compounded nut that's probably worth $3 to $10 million, depending how much you started with and how you've accelerated, tax free. I can guarantee, not allowed as a fiduciary to guarantee anything, and I can guarantee this. If you're watching this program and you stick with this curriculum and you get invested in a Roth IRA and you stick with it, I guarantee you will be a millionaire at 59.
Let's stay there for a little bit, because it's crazy. Not until I transitioned and got into the workforce and I became an entrepreneur and I started to see that, I wasn't an aggressive investor. I'm not.
Sure.
I'm someone that I'm someone that invests for income and interest. Okay. Right. And so what I mean by that is I look for income. I look for dividends to pay me back and yield certain things a month so I can actually have something, right, that I can take, and maybe I don't need it. Maybe I can put into another vehicle.
So that by the way, that's income versus growth.
Growth. Right. Exactly. Okay. But then I look Then I look at growth. Right. Yeah. For me, I have for my children 529s, which we'll talk about.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
529s where I can leverage as well.
Good.
And I have a Roth IRA. But what I'm trying to get to is all these things are automated for me. Mm-hmm. So when I have something that comes in and I have, capital that comes in from a job or a service that I sell, I know that a certain percentage every single month is going towards my investments. Good. And I don't even see it.
Good.
Right. And so it's honestly creating this illusion for me where I'm now compounding, and I look back at my accounts and I talk to my accountant. And he's like, dude, you're doing well. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do anything. Right. And so I bring this up because we are in a world of automation. Okay. Right? Digital transformation has taken over.
Right.
To be real with you, I'm not even talking to my accountant every day.
No, you shouldn't.
Granted, I'm talking to him to understand exactly my performance and my portfolio because I want to make sure I'm diverse, right? So if I have things in real estate investment trusts that we talked about, REITs, right, where I want to own a piece of real estate, or if I have things in stocks and bonds, right, which we'll continue to talk about as we get out through this curriculum. But I just want to make sure that I'm diverse, right? And also, too, am I protecting my downside? Right? Am I protecting when there's a loss? Because we understand things are cyclical and things can change instantly, but am I protecting my downside? So I say all that to say is that automation is big, and we're in a world where a lot of folks, they just need to be automated because that's what's going to create the behavior, right? Giving someone physical cash to invest for you or doing a money wire or transfer, that's not going to create the behavior that they need because they feel like they're losing.
Let's make certain that on the section of the curriculum, which you'll get to here, and you can scroll around and find how to use digital assets to your advantage.
Correct.
And making certain that you are in programs that don't cost more than the value they're providing. That you're talking to your broker about your investments, not your accountant. And your accountant about your tax shelters from the material that your brokers put together.
100%.
So understanding who are the players on your team, what are their roles, what are the right relationships they should have to your money is part of putting your financial feet underneath you to feel that sense of confidence.
Love that.
And this is a big part of what we get into here at Flip. Because the financial literacy is intended to provide that sense of confidence that you can turn to any member of your team and they're working for you.
100%. 100%.
And that's really important. They work for you, for your money.
I love that. No, thanks for that, Kip. And honestly, just again, how you really just well articulated these different steps in the quadrants. I hope the folks at home and the ones that are listening, and obviously, if you are listening, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, please, because this is obviously what we're going to get the word out with Flip, but also too, we're going to be able to enable you with certain tools and certain things that you can take, well beyond your playing days. So I definitely want to make sure that I hone in on that. But I want to transition a little bit real quick. If you had a thought too.
Thank you for throwing out the social connection, because it's important that if you're watching this and you think somebody else can profit from it, let them know.
100%.
What we're trying to do here is create communities that feel strong about money,
Right.
that feel confident about talking about money.
Yep.
And be a little off the center here. For many people, talking about money or sex is really awkward.
Yep.
They don't know how to talk about it, or
Yep.
they feel that somehow they're not doing it right.
Yep.
And they don't want to be exposed for not doing it right. And
Yep.
this is really true about money or sex. What am I doing wrong? Why is she? What is going on here?
Right.
Where did my money go? This lack of confidence in these particular areas is shocking from
Sure.
generation to generation
Sure.
throughout history.
Sure.
Why have we as a society allowed these two important subjects that drive so much of our mentality,
Sure.
so much of our choices of
Sure.
what we do, to go unaccounted for and
Sure.
untaught?
Sure.
Why is it sort of a miracle that someone's wealthy and someone else who's not has no idea how the person who got wealthy got there?
Right.
Why does it have to be a secret from wealth? Why is it such a surprise when someone stays married for decades and decades and decades and learns how to love someone else?
Right.
Why can't that be discussed at an early age at the dinner table? Why can't there be a dinner table?
Whew, well,
Where is this going here?
Well,
How are you expected to go off to school when you didn't get those early kind of conversations? Here's where the conversations start.
Absolutely.
That's the point of Flip.
Absolutely.
We're not making it a scary journey anymore. There's
Right.
nothing about sex or money that can't be discussed
Right.
and that you haven't, frankly, already thought about or heard of.
Right.
The truth is, you don't know how to put your choices and sacrifices into the right menu in order to build that sense of confidence that, yeah, I got this.
I love that. I love that. And those are our core competencies. Our value proposition is community. Our value proposition is engaging. Our value proposition is being able to say that they exist, the rooms exist, and I can go behind that curtain and see that there is another table that I can sit at, and I don't need to feel like I need to change who I am or what I need to become to be on that table. No, I'm going to learn, I am going to grow, and I'm going to ask questions.
Thank you for
because
putting it that way.
curiosity is going to get me along that arena and get me in that room where I know that I can have these conversations. But with that being said, we got a part of the show where we always go flipping the hygiene, flipping your hygiene, your financial hygiene.
Okay.
And you know, these are obviously from viewers that obviously are subscribed to the channel that they ask, right, all the
Yeah, I love
time.
that.
Some of them, they already have capital, right?
Okay.
They have money. And then some of them are just honestly starting off and they're college students that are trying to get ahead and just trying to figure it out.
Sure.
And then some of them are that mid tier, right? Where they are like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where I actually am.
And by
right?
the way, for a second, this is why we're partners. By the way.
Exactly.
Everything you're describing, you just described either you or me.
Exactly.
So understand the reason that we're together here is there's a collective set of experiences of
Yes.
growing up in a family of 10
Yes.
in a single parent
Yes.
household and becoming a professional athlete, converting into a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
That is entirely different from growing up in a household of 2 kids
Right.
with both parents there,
Right.
stayed married, one business in that family all the way, private education and all these opportunities. And yet in both situations, no one talked to us, either of us, about financial education
Nope.
or sex education.
Nope.
None of those things were discussed. So we're not in this section. We're talking about finance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
keep
make
it-
it an
keep-
important point.
Yeah.
That is, as people are writing in questions and they're ricocheting back and forth, you're ricocheting back and forth. If one of us doesn't have this experience and
Yeah.
answer, it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, we don't want to make it rated X for y'all, okay? So
No, we'll
it's not
keep it
sexual.
straight.
We're going to keep it PG.
keep it straight.
You know what I mean? But I say all that to say
PG for plenty of green.
for plenty of green. That's what I love to hear, but plenty of green. But look, flipping the financial hygiene.
Okay.
Right? Rapid fire questions.
Go ahead, yeah.
Right? And once we have obviously guests on, we'll make sure we ask them and we'll bounce back and forth.
Okay.
And you ask me some questions, I'll do the same.
Yeah.
As you know, that's a part of the segment. So I am someone that
I'll
has
get my questions
started,
up.
yes,
Okay.
I am someone that has started a career in finance.
Okay.
And I am just paying to get by, right? What should be the first thing that I cancel from a subscription perspective that is taking away money from me every single month, and I think that it's a small value?
Anything that you're spending a large proportion of your time doing is sucking you away from the life balance that you're seeking. So if you're got an app on your phone and you're constantly playing the game of the app with the rationalization, well, it's good for my brain.
$12
It's good.
a
It's
month.
good. Right. It's good for my mind to be doing this. But you're spending more than 5% of your day on it. That's a distraction.
Got it.
That's
so,
a problem.
So what you're saying is that a distraction also can equate to dollars too,
It
right?
will.
Because then you can build your knowledge by eliminating that distraction. Not only eliminating it monetarily, right? Why canceling a subscription is obviously deducting $12 a month, right? You can get that $12 and put it somewhere else. But what you're saying is that the commodity of time
That's it. The
actually
time value
makes
of money.
sense, and that's the
what I'm
time
saying.
value.
Is your time well spent?
Got it.
And again, watching the character of your own movie. If I'm watching the character of this movie and it's me, and this character is spending all day
Got it.
fiddling in a little game, but wants to actually graduate, but isn't going to class because they're spending the time in the game, you're watching the wrong movie
I
of
love
yourself.
it.
Or you
I love
set
it.
yourself up on a false agenda. So tell yourself the truth.
Got it.
I mean, if I was to title anything, tell yourself the damn truth.
Got it.
All right,
Love
so
it.
here's one for you.
Yes.
From a viewer. What should people write about in a money journal? I love that question.
Wow, that is a really, really great question. First, I think what you should write at the top of your journal is, what do you understand about money?
Okay, or not?
Or not,
Okay.
right? What do you understand? So what I usually do is I write down a couple of questions. This is when I started off, right? When I transitioned into, corporations and being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that's called a profit and loss statement,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
And so you see how much money you've made and how much money you've lost. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did at the top of my journal when I first started off was, how much am I starting off with?
Okay.
Am I starting off in the negative?
Right.
Or am I actually starting off in the positive? Number one. And I have to be really truthful with myself, because sometimes we get into these moments where we want to lie to ourselves and
Right.
tell ourselves
All the
that we
time.
are well ahead
Sure.
of where we actually are.
Yep.
So I had to really, really be conscious about being authentic and being real with myself and where I was.
And you did this?
And I
Money
did
journaling.
this.
Okay.
I did this by journaling. So where am I currently, right? Do I even have any money in the bank? And for me,
Right.
I started off with nothing.
Right.
So it was literally starting at
Literally
zero.
nothing.
Literally nothing.
Wow. Okay.
No credit, nothing. I'm talking about literally
Yeah.
from the bottom.
Right.
When they say from the bottom to the, I'll start off from the bottom.
I feel it.
That was what it was, right?
Right.
So first off, where am I? Number one, right?
Yep.
Where am I money wise?
Yeah.
Number two, how long is it going to take me to get information and gather certain things that's going to help me acquire the dollar?
Okay.
Right? So what does that mean? Do I go and get a job? Right?
So this was
Or-
part of your journal?
This is part of my
So
journal.
your journal, you write down, all right, so I'm starting with nothing.
I'm starting with nothing.
I need an income.
I need an income.
So next thing on my
That's
journal
number
is a
two.
job. So then I'd be looking at job as like, how easy can I get
How
one?
easy
How does
can I
it
get
fit
it?
into my time
but
schedule?
also, what is my experience? What am I going to get paid for due to my experience?
Yeah, right, sure.
And now, when you're getting out of college, right, you don't have too much experience. And so, luckily, I was an apprentice, right, for a large corporation where I was able to, gather a skill set early on.
Did you get that apprenticeship by being an athlete?
No, I got that apprenticeship by me knocking on doors and asking.
Okay, all right.
So that's a whole nother segment that we'll talk about sales and marketability and how to really put yourself into rooms where people have to give you an opportunity and they don't deny you. We'll talk about that in a whole nother
all
segment.
right, yeah. So
But that's-
hunger got you up out of bed.
Hunger got me out of
got
bed.
you out of bed knocking on doors.
But it goes right back to the principles of football.
That's great,
right?
honestly.
It's like I have to knock at doors to get my position,
Absolutely.
right?
Somebody
Or
else is
it's
gonna
going to
take
get exactly right. So that's what it was, right? So that was the second step, right?
Okay.
How do I find
That's really healthy.
income, right? Lastly, was how long is it going to take me to get to my number that I have set, and what is my number?
And how did you get to that number?
Because my number was this.
What was your
my
number?
number was based off of my lifestyle, what
Okay.
I wanted in my life.
Okay.
I wanted a car that ran. I didn't want a car that I had to fix every week.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
I
can
wanted a
understand that.
running car. So how much do I have to save for a down payment?
Okay.
What does that look like? Do I want to finance a car? Do I want to lease a car?
Right.
Right. What are the differences between the
Oh,
two?
and now we're getting into building credit.
Now we're getting exactly
Okay.
right. But I
Okay.
have to write that down. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, what region do I want to live in? Do I want to live in LA or do I want to live in New York?
Right.
And how much is
Or,
that?
by the way, you don't need a car in one of them. And you
and-
may not need a car in LA. By the way, if you're a
But that's-
student and your goal is,
Yes.
I want a car, but you're going to class every
Yes.
day, why do you need a car?
But yes, but this is now as an adult, right?
Okay, all right.
So I'm graduated now.
Okay, I
So
see.
now this is as an adult. So do I need a car in these areas,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And now, if I don't need a car, if I do need a car, how much is that car going to cost me, right? And number three was, how much can I use to support my mother? My mother, I wanted to make sure that she was always at the foundation of my thought process.
Sure.
Because you got to have a why. behind why you want money.
Okay.
Some people go into it and they want the admiration, they want the ego, they want the fame, they want to do all the things that, you know, they feel money can offer them and what social media promotes, which is fine, right? I'm not knocking that because again, when I made money, I did those things as well.
Right.
But for me, my why, it kept me disciplined.
Okay.
When I call back home and I ask my mom, have I retired you yet? And she says no, then I haven't worked hard enough. And that was what my why was, right?
Okay.
My why was, how do I get my mom out of a financial situation that can better her and also better the future of others that are coming after me?
Okay.
So that was my why. So when I went through those three things, right? Income, timeline, and my why, right? That helped me and allowed me to create a journal that was specific to me, but it created SMART goals that were measurable, that were attainable, and that were timeline tracked, right? So that way now I knew that there was an actual practical day-to-day step in a plan where I can execute. And see, what sometimes when we forget about is when we write these money journals down, we talk about the dreams and the goals without practical steps. No, I'm here to tell you, I'm talking about practical steps. Theory, get that shit out the window. No more theory. I want you to be practical. I want you to execute and find the means to execute at a high level and at a high cap, just like in your sport, just like when you were in college and you were going to that dissertation, whatever the case may be, execute. You have to execute. And that's what I did in my Murner journal.
That's a really complete answer, and I appreciate it. To me, honestly, what diarying has always been for me is writing down, who did I interact with today?
No, sure.
Just what happened today?
Sure.
And if it's a money journal, what money things happened to me today?
Sure.
Did I cause anything to happen financially
Sure.
for myself?
100%. No, I love
Or
it.
am I expecting it to just show up at my door?
I love it. I love it. I think we touched on this before. Another question that we got from a viewer is, in a one sentence answer, what percent, if I'm making $100,000 a year and I have $50,000 in overhead a year, what percent should I invest of that $100,000? If I have $50,000, half of it, so
So
50% already, half of it
50%
gone.
of it's your
what
needs.
should I invest?
You've got now a remaining 50% that is not necessarily covering your needs.
$50,000.
This is great.
Yep.
I would do 20 to 30% as an investment.
And what is that numerical value? Can you break that down?
$20,000 to $30,000 of that $100,000 should be placed in an investment.
Perfect.
Okay, and there should be, with that kind of money, and we can have fun here. There can be a diversity to your portfolio. You need about $6,000, $7,000, depending on your marriage status, to have a Roth IRA going. So there's 6% of that 50% that's remaining. So now we still got 44% left over. You take 20% of that, we're going to put it into stocks and bonds, securities, so that the market can move my money forward. Markets go up and down. You can't be checking this on a daily basis. You can't be checking it on a monthly basis and getting worried and concerned. Oh, I put some money into Apple and the stock went down. Don't worry about it. It's Apple. It's going to be doing just fine. Investing into the products that you actually care about and use yourself with that 20 to 30% I'm talking about keeps you mindful of where your money's going. Okay, and now you've got about another 20% left over. I would split that up about 5 to 10% to charity. It's really important to be giving to your community.
So not to cut you off real quick.
Yep.
I want to keep it top level, right? Because you said $20,000, right? To invest, right?
Right.
$20,000 to invest, right? I'm not even thinking about charities yet.
Okay.
Right? Because that's a whole nother advantage, right? That's tax advantages and things of that nature.
And community.
And community. So we're just saying $20,000.
Yep. Of
right?
$100,000. 50's going to expenses. 20,000 stored investment.
Perfect.
Exactly, at least 20 in that case. 20 to 30 is going into investment. The rest of it, if I'm not allowed to be giving it into charities, then you need to be buying yourself insurance on any of the materials that you have to protect yourself from downside. And that means medical and dental insurance as well. Car insurance, if you have an apartment, renter's insurance, so when you're robbed, it's not the end of the world. That's probably going to take another 10% of that that's there. And then what's left, enjoy.
Perfect.
Enjoy yourself. Take 10% of it and enjoy and do something fun and interesting.
So I'm enjoying 10% of that 100,000.
Sure.
Which, if you look at it, right,
it's that's about $1,000 a month.
But that's actually a lot, right? Like
it's
that's
$250 a week. Let's call it.
And if you don't have any kids or dependents, and if you have responsibilities of that nature, and you're a single person,
you can get by on this.
You can get by on that and enjoy yourself.
We're talking a couple $100 a month a week that you can just throw away. You can just do whatever you want to do and not worry about it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. There's a fantastic rule that we have here. 1/10,000th.
Yeah.
1/10,000th. What that means is if you have $100,000 net worth and it's working for you in a savings account or in securities and it's earning 5, 6, 7, 10%, you can take 1/10,000th of that 100,000 or $10 and you can spend $10 a day on whatever you want and not worry about it.
Got it.
Whatever you want, you can take $10 and light it on fire every single day because the interest earned on the 100,000 is covering more than $10 a day. So if you have $100,000, a quick way to know how rich am I? Well, you can just burn through $10 a day with whatever you want. You want an extra cup of coffee? Want to buy Lou a sandwich, whatever? You just go right ahead.
Please, I'm hungry.
You just go right ahead and do that.
Please, I need it. No.
See, but see what I mean? There's literally math tools that are simple to know if you're shown the menu.
I love it.
Am I rich yet?
I love it.
I can tell you.
I love it. I love it. We got time for one more question.
Okay.
All right. So
you want me to hit you?
Yep.
Great. How can someone? This is a great one. How can someone start to notice their financial behaviors without feeling shame?
Wow. I think when you start to eliminate the thought process of thinking that you have to attribute your financial success to a society that really don't care about you anyway.
Right. Stop comparing yourself.
If you're rich or you're poor,
Exactly.
then I think you will start to understand your financial behavior. See what happens financially, right? If you have behaviors that are good or bad, you're trying to chase an emotion and you're trying to chase a response. That emotion may be built by your dreams and desires that were brought up to you from a small kid.
Sure, undoubtedly they were.
Right?
Sure.
And so now that small kid that's inside of you is chasing those dreams and those desires, and you're going to spin your way towards acquiring those dreams and desires and fulfilling the things that you felt were always deserving of you to go and spend money on. And what ends up happening is this: you start to compound over time how much you're spending. And then you look back and you say, wow, I made $250,000 last year, but why does it feel like I didn't? Because you look around and you have a lot of stuff. And then what ends up happening is when you have a lot of stuff, you either do one or two things. You buy more stuff, or you say, how much is this stuff sellable? How much of this stuff can I get rid of? How much of this stuff can I actually really use? And how much have I used, right? And if you have 50 white shirts in your closet, I think that you don't have 50 backs to put those white shirts on. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience because, again, I was someone that grew up in a one-parent household that didn't have a lot. So when I started to see money, I started to see opportunity to buy all the things that I didn't have when my mom honestly had to support all of us.
Sure, of course.
So when you want to really dive into understanding your habits, take a look around you. Take a look around you. Do I need this nice car? Or can I get by with this car that gets me to A to B perfectly fine? Or am I truly trying to fulfill somebody else's agenda?
And if you want a really nice car, is there a way to set yourself up so that over time you put yourself in a position to afford a nice car?
But I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
Because what ends up happening is that if you don't have the muscle
Right.
to really behave in a way where you know that the nice car really doesn't mean nothing but just having a nice car.
Okay.
When I put it on the road, it's just to say I have a nice car.
Okay.
When we're in conversations, it's like, okay, yeah, I have a Bentley or I have whatever. That's just a conversation. But how many times do you go through the day and is somebody actually worried about the car you're driving? They're
Never.
not.
No, nobody
But what
cares
ends up
at all.
happening is that your ego is bruised now when you roll up in a 1995 Toyota Camry and you're like, well, I'm driving up to this golf course where they have all of these new cars that are 2025 plus. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So first, check yourself. Check yourself. Check yourself, because if you don't check yourself, there's no checks that you can cut if you don't check yourself.
Oh, there it is.
You know what I mean?
There
So
it
that's literally what I would look at it if I'm looking at anything from like financial behavior is checking yourself first. And so that way you can have more checks to cut in the future.
Great. That
Yes.
sounds great.
Yes.
Check yourself. You can't check yourself a check.
Man,
love it.
not at all.
Point of reference, Warren Buffett lives in the same house that he's lived in for the last 60-something
There you
plus
go.
years. Drives the same car, goes to McDonald's,
And wear the same suit.
pulls the same suit, definitely. Pulls a little change out of the center and orders the same little McWhatever.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yes.
So it's a question of sort of calibrating, where is my happiness?
Yep, exactly.
Where do I get my happiness? Do I
Sure.
get my happiness from opening the closet and seeing 50 white shirts?
Yep.
Is that really bringing you happiness?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Would you get more happiness from feeling that you were secure, from saving some of that money, putting it into your future,
Exactly.
and realizing that as a professional athlete in college
Yep.
or high school, as a professional athlete at 18 years old, this might be the only liquidity event you ever experience in
Man,
your life.
100%.
This might be it.
There goes there. Well, look, guys, we covered a lot. We covered a lot today. And when I tell you, I am so passionate about our intention for this platform. Our intention not only to give you guys education financially, but also to talk about real world examples, because there is a life that is happening with or without you. And number one, how are you setting yourself up for success? How are you setting your family up for success? But also, two, how are you giving yourself the opportunity to have access to the rooms that you thought that you didn't have access to? And by doing that, you have to become educated. It's a foundation that you have to build, because that foundation doesn't only support you, but it supports everybody else behind you. So listen, thank you guys for tuning in to this week. It was an amazing, amazing episode. And we can't wait to catch you, because it's not about showing me the money. It's about what?
Show you the menu.
And that's Flip. Thank you guys.